Hi there, I'm Jim Brayshaw. Thanks for taking 4 minutes of your time to talk about evil today. It's such an important topic. Evil exists all around us. We've been taught since we are little people, most of us, that evil comes from a supernatural cosmic entity that really has divine powers in many ways and is a lot like God, but can bring this evil onto humanity and make you and I do evil things and influence our thoughts to make evil choices and decisions. But is this real? Is this possible that there's a supernatural being that can do this to us? Or could evil come from a different source? Well, the answer is evil can come from a different source. And in fact, it does. We learn by looking carefully at some of the way the words and phrases are put together in the Bible that evil comes from two sources. One being myself, a human being. The condition of man is often bringing evil into the world and upon other men. And we also find that evil is brought by the Creator, Yahweh, God, at times upon people as well. If we look at a couple unique passages, let's start with the very first passage about evil. Where did evil begin? Well, if you remember the Garden of Eden story, perhaps some of you recall it, we find that Adam and Eve, that's what they're called biblically, were in the garden, and then there was some stuff put in the garden. And who put the trees in there? Well, the tree of the knowledge of good and what was put in the garden by whom? If we look at that passage, we know there was a tree of life placed in the garden, and then God, the Creator, put the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He placed evil in the pathway of the human being. That the condition of the human was always there so that the evil inclination, a good inclination exists and an evil inclination exists. And the human could always have a choice whether to do good or whether to choose evil. So it wasn't coming from a supernatural entity. You can look at my other video or pick up a PDF copy by emailing me of Satan, Christianity's Other God, where I disclose a whole bunch of info on what the serpent in the garden was. And please check out my other video on that. But we also know this. In Isaiah is a prophet, and we can dispute whose words these are, but we find that the Hebrew people were trapped in an environment where there were lots of things going on that weren't very pleasant. Let's call them evil. And they were blaming these evil things on other gods, on supernatural and evil entities they thought existed, because they began to adopt some of the views of the culture around them. So Isaiah needs to redirect them and say, listen, you guys, well, let me read it to you. Isaiah 45:47. For Jacob my servant's sake and Israel mine elect, I have even called them by thy name, I've surnamed you, though you have not known me. I am the Lord, Yahweh, there's none else. There's no God beside me. See, they were thinking of other gods doing the evil. So Isaiah said, no, there's no other God beside me. I girded you, though you did not know me, that you may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am Yahweh, I am the Lord, there's none else. He continued to reassert that he is the only supernatural entity in existence. And that what happens with evil, it doesn't come from all the other supernatural beings that supposedly existed. He says it clearly, because it's me. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, I, Yahweh, I, God, do all these things. Blame me for it, he said. It's not you. It's not supernatural entities that don't exist. We also find in Amos another claim. Who claims to bring evil on a city? In Amos 3, I believe it's verse 6, shall there be evil in a city, and God hath not done it? Simple question. We find in Job 2, shall man accept good at the hand of God and not evil? Well, we know evil's coming from the hand of God then. And we're finding all throughout Scripture that man is this Satan, this adversary, where evil is created. We also find the passage in James that talks about evil. It says in James 1:14, but every man is tempted when he's drawn away by Satan, a supernatural entity. No, by his own lusts and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth death and sin, and then death is the result. We also know the Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua, made a very clear statement. He says, evil comes from the heart of man. Out of hearts man proceeds adulteries, fornications, lasciviousness, lust. All evil proceeds from the heart of man. So if you want to find out more about evil and understand that it's not a supernatural entity where evil is originating from, but it's really us, the human being, where evil comes from inside us, and then we spray it on those around us in various ways all throughout history. Please get in touch with me at jrbrayshaw@shaw.ca. I'll send you a PDF copy of one of these Imagine No Satan series books. And go to my website, imaginenosatan.com, where you can learn a little bit more as well and also contact me. Thanks for spending 4 minutes of your time. It's great to have you along.